We now have quarterback coach Mario Verduzco. I will give the first question to Aaron Sorensen, HOL varsity.
Hey, Coach. I'm going to
Hi,
start with.
Aaron. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Sorry for the delay.
Oh, you're fine. Without fans, it's going to be a quiet stadium that actually can be a benefit for an offense on the road. But with a quiet stadium, that also means there's a benefit to a home defense. So when you're thinking about the snap count, can you share a little bit of how you may be preparing for that, whether it's mixing things up, changing the rhythm, the cadence, how you work with that in practice?
No, it's going to stay fairly simple for us. Simple's good. So I don't know if there's going to be very many changes with that at all in terms of the snap count procedures. Aside from that, I just told the guys, there's going to be a certain sense we got to bring our own juice. There's nobody in the stands, and got to do it on your own. And we've all been through those sorts of games, even when there's stands on the field, and you might be playing an opponent who you might have overmatched and is not doing very well. So you go to their place and they don't have very many fans in the stands. So you always tell your team, bring your own juice.
Okay, we'll continue with Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, Mario, how are you?
Hi, Parker. How are you?
Doing well.
You look depressed.
You said in the. Well, I'm not stressed. Not
No,
at all.
depressed.
How about you? You look relaxed. You've said in the past, and Scott has said in the past, that you don't typically favor a two quarterback system, whatever that means. Are you in a position where you have two guys that you'd like to get regular playing time? And I guess how do you walk that balance when you have players you really like in both Adrian and Luke?
Oh, I don't know about that. That's going to be ultimately Frosty's decision, as relate to how that all gets played out. But I think you'd love to have as many good quarterbacks in your room as possible that you feel good about, that you feel can go into a game if they have some game prep and win a game for you. So, yeah, feel good about Adrian and Luke both.
Okay, we'll go to Brian Christopherson, 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hi, Brian.
Quick question about McCaffrey. When you look back at his first year here, what are one or two things where you thought he had to make the biggest strides in coming into this season, and how have you seen him do that?
Stroke, thrust on the ball. He's worked hard on that in the offseason, and it's showing up with the way he's flinging it around right now. Some small issue feet things, but nothing major. He's cleaned those up. Do we have more work to do? Absolutely. So there's still things we're going on. But to answer your question, it'd probably be thrust on the ball, just in terms of that effectiveness and efficiency with it.
A quick one on Logan too. Where do you see him at? How has he fit in here in this kind of weird, disjointed off season?
Yeah, very similar to how when Luke came in. His issue particularly was he just didn't get very many reps in spring, right? So we've done as good a job as we possibly can getting him caught up with the experience part of it. But like Luke, he had some things that he needed to get cleaned up. And because of the delay, I think in a kind of a weird, goofy ass way, he's probably further ahead than he normally would be. Excuse my French.
Okay, we'll go with Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Mario. Good morning.
Hi, Evan.
Hey, I'm just curious, as you evaluate Luke and Adrian specifically in this thing, how much would you say the experience gap has closed between those two from last year, and how big a factor is that as you evaluate these guys moving forward?
Oh, I don't think it's as probably big as maybe it would be if Lucas had never got any reps. Number one, number two, Lucas has got a boatload of reps with both the twos and the ones during camp. So I wouldn't say that's a huge factor to answer your question.
Okay, next we'll go to Derek Pearson, HOL varsity.
Hey, Mario, how are you?
Hey, what's up? Hi, I like the glasses, man.
Thank you. I like yours too. Surprised you out of them. So everybody all the time talks about how competition brings out the best in players. You've got two guys in Adrian and Luke that are battling with each other this offseason. For each guy, so for Adrian, is there a specific area that Luke excels in that you see pushing Adrian? And then is there a specific area that Adrian excels in that you see pushing Luke?
No, not really. They're very similar in a lot of ways in terms of their skill set.
Okay, we'll go to Mitch Sherman from The Athletic.
Mario, good to
Hi,
see you.
Mitch.
Hello. Last time we saw you guys play, there were a handful of reps where Adrian and Luke were on the field at the same time. Hypothetically, what kind of stress can you guys add to a defense if that's an option that you choose to go with more in 2020?
You would probably know as well as anybody that can create stress for a defense, particularly when both of the young guys are capable of running it and throwing it, How much of that, scheme-wise, Coach Frost wants to do, that would be best a question for him. But I certainly think when you have that availability, it certainly helps you. It did help the Browns, even though it wasn't a quarterback throwing the ball to our guy in the end zone. But, yeah, it's pretty dangerous.
Have you guys
Okay,
spent any time this offseason, studying whether it's NFL or other colleges and just the way they've been creative in using not necessarily multiple quarterbacks, but just weapons, multiple weapons, along the lines of what Mario and Luke can bring?
Adrian, you mean?
Sorry, Adrian and Luke. Yeah, you're not.
I don't know if I can play any. I doubt that I'd be very, very good. But Mitch, as Coach Lukovic is the consummate ball guy. Seriously, he's all about it. So I'm certain that he's dealt in that piece of the puzzle, and what he can do in terms of finding offenses or plays or what have you, having two quarterbacks on the field. I'm sure he's done a lot of research in that area, and then it'll be dependent upon him and Coach Frost getting together to figure out how much they want to do.
Okay, next we'll go to Connor Habner.
Hey, Coach.
Hi,
Coach
Connor.
Coach Frost and Coach Lubick have talked a lot about simplifying things for your guys. How does that kind of manifest itself on the field? Have you noticed any changes, or is there any differences in the way you guys go about your business with the new offensive coordinator and that type of philosophy?
Yeah, it's more simple in a variety of ways in terms of where you might start your progression and so on and so forth with regards to that. So the other piece of the puzzle is Coach Lubes has done a great job figuring out the base plays and even some of the third down situation offense, pass offense stuff that we've been able to rehearse over and over and over and over. So at least for us right now, in terms of what we've been going through, it's been really good. How it's going to translate into competition, we're going to find out. But I feel real good about it right now.
Next, go to Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, Mario. So I'm curious about with everybody, getting an extra year of eligibility and this year, quote unquote, not counting for your eligibility clock. What does that mean for Logan, and maybe getting him into a game at some point? And then I'm also curious how far Matt Masker has come at this point and where your comfort level is with him as a guy, depth in your room too.
Well, first off, with regards to Logan, it's a great opportunity for him, and he would love to play without losing any eligibility. So he's ready for that. With regards to his playbook test and all that craziness, he's sharp as a tack. So he's ready to go in terms of that. So if we decide to put him in a game, Frosty wants to, Lubes wants to, he knows what he's doing, so that would be tremendous for him, and then knowing that you're not going to lose any eligibility. With regards to Matty Masker's just a tough-ass Nebraska kid, got a great gun. He's got pretty good wheels. So we feel confident with him that if he had to come in and do X, Y, Z, then that's exactly what he would do.
Next, we'll go to Parker Gabriel, Lincoln Journal-Star.
That was
sorry.
my question.
Sorry, Parker, my fault.
I'm good.
There's two Parkers.
Sean Callahan, Nebraska Online.
Hey, Coach Verduzco. Just Coach Frost said the other night on his radio show that you guys will hold a pretty good-sized scrimmage on Saturday in the stadium with just limited time, limited contact. How big will something like Saturday's scrimmage be in making those final evaluations?
Oh, just probably no different in a lot of ways just from day-to-day practice. You know, it's going to be those same sorts of pressures, those same sorts of situations that come up, and it'll be a factor, but I don't know if it'll be the overall major factor.
And then I wanted to ask you, how did you manage just the emotions of this whole offseason of not knowing when or if you were going to play? I mean, were there some dark days and up and down days? I mean, I'm sure it was quite a roller coaster for all the coaches.
Me personally, you asking?
Yeah.
I from my own personal standpoint, I just looked at it that we're playing, and I worked and I prepared as if we were going to play. I told the quarterbacks to think of it that way. That way, whatever happens, happens. If they delay us, they delay us. But it gets to be a kind of a pain in the ass, you know, when you get delayed over and over. But to be able to fight that's how I dealt with it. Sean, to be honest, we're going to play. And if it gets delayed, then we're going to play the next week. If it gets delayed again, then whenever they tell us we're going to play, and we're going to prepare.
Okay, we'll finish up this round of questions with Sam McKeown from the Omaha World Herald.
Mario, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Sam. How are you?
Good. I'm keeping my screen dark because I don't want you to tell me I'm depressed.
Oh, man. Come on, man. Let me see that lovely face, yo.
Yeah, I know I do. So you're this is kind of a follow-up question to what Sean was asking. You know, you're a very hands-on and very, you know, you coach in a very personal way with your quarterbacks, and I'm just curious how the coronavirus may have changed that a little bit. I know that you're used to giving the guys, for example, their tests in your house and all that other stuff. How has that changed? And more importantly, quarterback is a position where if you lose a bunch of guys because of contact tracing or whatever, it's a problem. So how do you kind of navigate how you're coaching them so that if one guy tests, maybe another guy doesn't get it, so on and so forth?
Yeah. First off, I'm a hugger, so I couldn't hug them as often as I'd like to. That's number one. Number two, Jared Lambrick and Simson, the guys have done a great job with handling that and getting some different rooms and so on and so on and so forth, right? Which was interesting for us when we got back to the quarterback room. I put names on each of their chairs so that they were sitting in the same chair all the time, making sure they were spread out. When I get here in the morning, I get those, I don't know, what are they, Clorox disinfectant towels, whatever the hell they are. So I go in every morning and I wipe down their chairs, the back of the chair, where they're sitting, the keyboard, and all of that sort of stuff to make certain that we're as self-contained in this bubble and clean as possible. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Yeah. You feel, has it otherwise been normal, like when you're coaching them out on the field?
That piece of the puzzle has, absolutely. I haven't really kind of noticed anything with regards to the impact of COVID when I'm out on the field coaching. Most of it has been in the building itself, and even before, there was a point in time where they were not allowed up on our floor, which was kind of weird for me not to see them as much as I usually do. But yeah, it's been interesting. As you pointed out, you certainly don't want to lose your quarterbacks, nor any person on the team for that matter, but you certainly are cautious about that and making certain you're doing everything to keep those cats healthy.
Okay, guys, we'll take a quick break and we'll go for players here shortly.